That is when you commune with God. Communion with God. Building that one-on-one with God. Building that one-on-one with God. Building that threshing floor that David had. David made sure that threshing floor that he had, he brought it with 100% payment. He made sure that he done it truthfully. Not only prayer is communion with God, God teaches us many things through prayer. Through prayer. And the one thing I loved about David was a man of prayer. David was a man who was in a place where he would dance on the mountaintop before God that sees all. He will write poems and sing to a God that hears all. That's why God called David a man. I have found a man after my own heart. Why Samuel was too busy weeping over Saul, God went on a manhunt and he said, I have found the man after my own heart. David was a man who seeked God in prayer. He seeked God in prayer and in worship. David knew his circumstance. He knew where he was. But he was not concerned about where he was. He was too busy with giving prayer and giving worship to God because he was seeking God. David was not worried about praying about his situation that he was in. He was going up and seeking God. Paul was a teacher of prayer. He was a teacher of prayer. The Church of Christ to be a praying church. Paul was there to teach the church to be a praying church. The church was to pray for all men and women on a corporate level. Everyone was to pray for all men and women on a corporate level. To deliver them from their infirmities and what they was going through. Paul said, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto God by prayer and supplication. Let thy prayer be known unto God. Paul not only wanted the church to pray for the saints, Paul went in to teach them how to pray for others. Not only praying for their own things that they're needed, but to pray for those others that are out there. Luke 1:11 tells us, and it came to pass that as he was praying in a certain place, as Jesus was praying in a certain place. See, Jesus was not praying for his own stuff. Luke 11:1 says he was praying in a certain place. When he ceased, one of his disciples said unto him, Lord, teach us to pray, as John also taught his disciples. See, it's one way to go up in prayer, and there's another way to be taught how to go up in prayer. Because many people always praying about their own circumstances, their own bills, their own lifestyle, all the things that they have going on in their life. That's all they get. It's a selfish prayer. But when you begin to be on a level where you can pray for others, when you can pray for others, I believe that prayer goes out powerfully, because you're concerned for others in your prayer. You're not concerned for your own. Your own stuff should be brought onto a place where you have a one-on-one basis with God. Don't get me wrong. It's not a selfish thing to pray for yourself. But I believe that there's other folks out there that need prayer but don't know how to reach God. But if you can reach God through prayer, lift them in prayer. You may not know all their names, but just say to God, God, the names that are on my mind, I lift them in prayer. I send a prayer out for healing. I send a prayer out for deliverance. Amen. Amen. Psalms 25:13. His soul shall dwell at ease. My God. When you release your circumstances, renewing your thinking, release all your cares in prayer. All of these things brings refreshment. When you release, God has time to give you more. When you release something, he has somewhere to fill. When you release something, he has somewhere to increase you in. His soul shall dwell at ease. When you release onto God, your soul will dwell at ease, so that you may make the right decisions. See, that's what I mean by when you release yourself in your circumstances to God in prayer, that he can download more things to you and you can make the right decisions in life. And your soul shall dwell at ease. You know, Ezra, all the things that he was going through around him, he had to release himself from his own problems and focus on the problems of the saints. And focus on the problems of the saints. You see, as Ezra began to release his own issues and problems, God was able to download new information into him that he was able to go and bring out the Israelites. He basically had to teach them out. But he was able to release his own circumstances that God can use him in a mighty way. Amen. And we find that in Ezra 7:9 through 10, and it reads, For upon the first day of the first month began he to go up from Babylon. And on the first day of the 5th month came he to Jerusalem, according to the good hand of his God upon him. For Ezra had prepared Ezra had prepared himself. He had to prepare himself for the work God has gave to him to do. So he had to release all his own problems and focus on the problems that God gave, the problems at hand. His heart. He had to prepare his heart for the people, because the people was not in the right place. So he had to prepare himself for what he was going into. He had to prepare himself with prayer to seek the law of the Lord and to do it, and to teach in Israel statutes and in judgment. Ezra had a big hand and task for him. But before he went there to do the task that God has given him to do, the assignment, he had to release all of his own problems and to take on the task that God has given him to do. Release his own. So he had to teach the Israelites. Amen. Let's go on to Psalms 25 and 14. 25 and 14. The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him. The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him. Amen. When you are in a right place with God, he will reveal to you secrets. I love God because he's a secret revealing and giving God. Yes, he is. Daniel, with his interpretation of the king's dreams. My God. Daniel, a man that was to be killed. Daniel was a man to be killed. He was part of the wise men that the king wanted to kill, because no one could interpret his dream. He was a praying captive. My God. Daniel was a praying captive. Daniel, a man that feared God. Daniel, a man that communed with God. Daniel, a man that was captive. He had to release all his cares on God, so God can download information to him.